100% pure adrenaline. Definitely the tagline should have been something different. But at number 34 is Point Break. Welcome to Long Play Video. And here we are on a nice Saturday night. This is definitely a Saturday night movie. Down at the shop, the last few people are trickling out with their DVDs and videos. We'll send them on their way to their evenings, which isn't going to be as good as ours, as we lock up the shop for number 34 on the list, which is Point Break, an absolute stone cold classic from 1991. Presumably that you've seen many times, Kev.
I haven't seen it as many times as you might have thought. This does seem like this would be a perfect film for me to have seen a million times, especially as I am a fan of Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze. But I've seen this a few times.
That does sound like this is in your wheelhouse, as to be said.
In my Roadhouse, yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, I think this was one of those films that I always felt like we talk about these sometimes, that were just always on TV and you just catch like 30-40 minutes somewhere, or like my sister would have had like the videotape and it'd be on and you'd come in and see a bit of it. I felt like it's always, you'd see different scenes so many times and maybe just never seen the first 10 minutes or something. But I feel like I remember, and this is kind of like, I remember that Patrick Swayze was really good now, and I do think he's a good actor. Was a good actor, yes. But yeah, Keanu Reeves is early Keanu, isn't it? And I feel like early Keanu's not the best. So I'm trying to remember if he was any good, and I'm like, I don't think I remember him being that great in this. But what about you?
Well, I mean, the thing is with Keanu, I don't think anyone has died as many times as Keanu has. Like, his career just it seems to keep coming back. I mean, this is, I mean, I don't know who saw him in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and then was like, you know what, let's put him in Point Break. And then, he then literally doesn't really do, I mean, My Own Private Idaho, which has a sort of cult following, but then doesn't really do anything. There's some awful movies in Dracula, Little Buddha, Johnny Mnemonic, but then has Speed. Yeah. And obviously that gets him back up. Like, and then he does again, like Feeling Minnesota, Chain Reaction, just bad movies. Then he does Matrix, and he like comes back from the dead again. And then obviously it's just in Matrix loads and loads, and then just doesn't go anywhere. And then all of a sudden has John Wick, and all of a sudden is like back again. He's like some sort of cool Terminator who you can't kill. He just keeps on clawing back into being just a really cool guy, and being in more and more films.
He does seem to be almost getting better with age in that. And I don't think I feel like he's not, I wouldn't say he's like an incredible actor. And I'm not saying that I could be better, but I feel like he kind of just knows where he's at. Like, not everyone's going to be like absolutely amazing at everything they do, right? Whereas I feel like he knows what he's good at, and he just sort of, sticks in that sort of general vicinity. He doesn't try to overact. He doesn't try and do method acting. He's like, I just want to be in films. And I don't know, like, maybe all accounts, everyone says Offset he's like the nicest guy in the world, and I always hear about these gifts that he gets everyone now. So maybe that's it, he's just a nice guy to work with, and people are like, just get him back on. Like, you get him back in this, and then that him being nice has paid off. Like, how nice would that be if this was true, and actually just him being a good guy has meant he's got to be in some great films.
Always get your co-workers' presents, and then you'll just keep getting employed. No, I mean, especially in this, he's so different to Bill and Ted's, and obviously, like, that's kind of that's where we knew him from. And I mean, I think you can argue whether he's a good actor or not, whether he has kind of his shtick. But like, obviously him and Swayze in this. it was just it was just kind of the epitome of cool, like back in the day when sort of watching this as a, I don't know, probably like 13, 14-year old, you just this to me was, well, this was America. It's not even like the, I didn't know that there was different places. If you would have asked me as a 14-year-old person, how far away is California from New York? I'd just have been like, well, they're not just like next to each other. They're just
it's the same place.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you just didn't have, I mean, not to lament the old days, but you also you weren't exposed to so much information. So unless you got an atlas out, it was very difficult to tell, right? So this, this was just like the surfing and the accent and everything else. This was just, this is just what America kind of was to me as an early teen. And I think it came out in 1991, but I think this feels really 90s. And I've watched it a few times since then as well, and it has like, not just because of the surfing, but it has like the grunge feel, the kind of Pearl Jam, Nirvana, like everyone wearing those knitted shirts. And people used to wear those to school in the south of England, and I think they're much more suited to throwing over yourself once you've been surfing in California. But that didn't stop them. So I think there's just like this whole vibe kind of goes very much in that early 90s kind of period, and isn't like an 80s. I was sort of thinking about films that were actually later, and like The Concierge, classic.
Oh god,
that was actually later, but like it still felt a very 80s movie, like in the way that it was set up and in the way that it kind of executed. And even Empire Records to a certain extent, which obviously was mid 90s, but again, it kind of felt a bit more 80s and a bit more like madcap, kind of in the shooting and stuff.
Definitely madcap.
But even though the music was quite kind of 90s, just still kind of felt 80s. Whereas I think this very much for me like feels 90s. And obviously I wasn't old enough to go and watch it at the cinema or anything like that, but funnily enough, I did notice that this was an 18, and with our conversation from last week about the first 18 that we ever watched, I definitely watched this when I was in my teens. I don't really know why it's an 18, but I mean, so there's a lot of violence.
Maybe. So like IMDb is now saying it's a 15, so is that
has it been brought down?
That's so funny, isn't it, when you think about it? Like, if something was, I guess life does change, but I don't know, do 18s move to 15s? I don't know, maybe I'm getting too old. Like maybe 12 to PG, but 18 to 50 feels like I guess 15. I mean, I guess at 15 you're moving around anyway, you're probably going to get into an 18 anyhow, so maybe it doesn't matter. So do you remember the first time you watched this, or like, is it just it was just sort of just scenes, and then it's all come together at some point when you saw the whole film finally?
No, I feel like I watched this. I feel like I watched this on like a sleepover or something, or like it was on Sky. Sort of late one evening, and I watched it with friends. I definitely have sort of a memory of watching it with friends for the first time, and again, like all of us just thinking it was super cool. I mean, sort of reenactment from Hot Fuzz probably. Like, which one do you want to watch first? So but I think it really did. Even probably from like 90, 92, 93 when it was on Sky, when it was on VHS at the time, it did it did definitely permeate my sort of friends, and like like everyone had seen it back in the day, and everyone would quote from it, and everyone kind of knew what it was about. And it was because also obviously like just with the amount of adrenaline sort of stuff in there, with the skydiving as well, and the and the sort of the surfing, it had that promise of like yeah, like this is the life almost, like, this is just, being cool and hanging out with your
Yeah,
friends and not having any responsibilities and just living for the next sort
yeah.
of, adrenaline kick. That was that was the early 90s. No, that was,
Hey,
that was just as a
that
great
was
promise, isn't
California.
it?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that was the south
yeah,
coast of England. Yeah,
yeah,
no, that I think just, it's a great promise to,
yeah,
to sort of anyone of a young teen, just to think, oh yeah, this
yeah.
you can live
Oh
your life
yeah,
like this. So
it is, and I think you're right in that sense. It really makes it a '90s film, isn't it? Of
yeah,
the young generation of you can always do whatever you want and you can enjoy your life. That definitely feels, I think, more '90s. What are your thoughts on Patrick Swayze then? Like, because I feel like I look back now and I feel like, oh yeah, I loved him. It was so great. But I don't know if I really got that at the time, or if like, is it that you look back with rose tinted glasses, or was he just as amazing as we think he was?
I mean, I think he made really good films, and I think he made really bad
Yeah,
films. And I'm
yeah,
not sure that he plays that different characters in any of them.
yeah, yeah.
But
Okay.
I think to a certain extent, I mean, again, we sort of talk about being typecast, but I think it's like,
Mm,
I think people would then write films and would be like, well, we'll sort of get Patrick Swayze to
yeah,
like be, moody and,
yeah,
give a long smoldering look, and, that will
yeah,
be enough. But I mean, that's the thing. His highs, of Dirty
yeah.
Dancing,
Huge.
Ghost, which were just the biggest movies like ever
Roadhouse.
at the time.
Yeah.
Roadhouse a little bit less, but like,
Mm,
yeah. But it's funny because if you look at his IMDb, so it's Dirty
yeah.
Dancing, then Still Dawn, which has got a 5.1, then Tiger
Yeah.
Warsaw, which has a 4.7, then
I don't know
Roadhouse,
that
cult
one.
classic,
Yeah.
6.7, Next of Kin, 5.9, then Ghost, then Point Break, and then City of Joy, 6.5, Fatherhood, 4.9. And that's kind
Yeah.
of thing. Like
He's
his
gone
his
again.
misses his
Yeah.
misses are misses. And yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's not the best. But I think
Yeah.
he's also, I think he's sort of one of those actors that you can't kind of take his character seriously. Like he's almost Patrick Swayze in every movie. Like in
Yeah.
in
Okay.
Dirty Dancing is Patrick Swayze dancing with the girl. In Ghost, it's,
Yeah.
oh well, Patrick Swayze's dead, and then he's come
Yeah.
back to haunt Whoopi Goldberg. And
Yeah.
so I think like you wouldn't have been able to see him almost as anything else but Patrick
Yeah.
Swayze, who is very cool, but like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, like obviously it's that balance of being typecast, but also just being good
Yeah.
at a particular role and getting work through that, I guess. That, yeah, for,
Do you
for me,
think,
that's kind of where he was.
and is that in a way then almost like where Keanu's got to now, where he's just that sort of, he does similar type roles. Also, I guess you look kind of Matrix and John Wick, those are similar-ish roles, and maybe similar. Maybe Patrick Swayze would have done these roles as well, or maybe he learned from this and he's like, I'm going to be like that guy. Because
Yeah,
he's almost a bit, because in his early stage, Keanu, I'd say he's almost quirky, right? You've got Parenthood, where he's a bit sort of goofy and he plays like a surfer dude. And then he starts changing. And then obviously in his latter career now, he's that sort of like, like you said, that sort of moody character of just like, if I think about John Wick and The Matrix, it's sort of like more like that. So I don't know, maybe this is where he learnt his trade from Patrick,
yeah,
and
yeah.
and he's got him to thank for The Matrix and for John Wick.
For going all the way. I mean,
Yeah,
it is such a great relationship in this movie that the two of them
yeah,
have. Like, is obviously like, again, I think that was kind of, sort of looking for friends like that, and for
yeah,
to hang out. And there's some cheesy lines on in retrospect, but I do think, like,
yeah,
again, with both of them together, it's, they're very hard to take your eyes off of, and they sort of work really well
yeah,
and kind of counterbalance each other, even though they
yeah,
are kind of both action, sort of stars. Even now, like you can see, like Keanu, even back then, like, he's sort of
yeah.
he's quite good at the
Starting to
action.
get there.
But then, you've got Swayze sort of balancing it up as like the hippie, and it's just such a great dynamic between the two of them. And then, obviously, Catherine Bigelow as the director as well. And I think it is, again, like just super well shot. There's so many like surfing scenes and great scenes that even sort of, obviously now surfing scenes are pretty easy with drones, but I remember that there's some like onboard kind of action shots that would have been super difficult to do at the time. But she's obviously she's very good at action and action set pieces. Like I know that a lot of people at the time were kind of surprised that this was shot by a woman, which I think tells you everything you need to know about the 90s.
The 90s. No, I think I remember it being like pretty impressive for a 90s film. I think I feel like this is what I'm gonna enjoy, and then I'm worried that this is gonna be like the ones that we've talked about when we go back and go, oh no, it's not as good, and it's 2 hours long as well, so there's every chance that it could have 30 minutes is not needed.
Well, I think, funnily enough, I was reading some of the reviews about it, and the Roger Ebert review gave it 3.5 stars out of 4. So he obviously liked it, and I think the way that he described it is the plot of Point Break summarized invites parody. Rookie agent goes undercover as surfer to catch bank robbers, but the result is surprisingly effective. And I think that's kind of that is kind of the thing that, like, obviously it is a cheesy movie, and it is sort of an easy concept. But I think also when I think of it, it's obviously the list kind of shows, but you have movies that for me, like the movies that I like, they're either kind of about real life and kind of show that and are trying to say something about life. They're either kind of cool, or they're just pure entertainment. And I think this is this is just pure entertainment, and and a little bit of cool kind of mixed together. It's not real life. It's not anything. We don't need to question the philosophy behind Swayze. Whether he was
how would they
get
all this money to do all this stuff, and
you know how expensive it is to skydive. Well, they rob banks, to be fair. So that's how they
true.
get spoilers. So
Do you remember the last time you watched it? Then have you watched it recently, or like do you feel like it's going to be as good as you remember? We should almost do a prediction now of whether you think it's going to go up and down.
I think I've watched it. I watched some of it again. A little bit like Fifth Element, maybe. Like, how much of this film will be good? Maybe we need to. That's a new category we need to put in. No, I've definitely watched some of it. I don't think I've watched the entire film. Very recently, but maybe I think probably in the last 10 years. I've gone on DVD. I've gone on Blu-ray. And I'm sure I've put it in the last 10 years, maybe in the early days when I had a baby I was holding and just needed something that my brain could watch and not engage too much with. Exactly. It's sad, isn't it? You watch it the first time as an action flick, and then you're like, oh, I don't have to think about it when I don't have any sleep because of my baby. But no, it's, I mean, presumably, like, I mean, this is just, you're going to think that it's just your life, right? You're just out surfing every morning. You're on the Gold Coast. You're waiting for that once in a lifetime storm. You know, you're doing the whole 9 yards.
Robbing banks, it's just, just my day-to-day life out here.
Spoilers for the police. Oh no.
Oh no, they don't listen. Exactly. So this is just the life I have.
Do you think that you're in Australia because you watched this film and you thought that the surf life was so good, and that's the reason that you moved to there? Do you think that's
I'm disappointed that I don't see Keanu every day. This is not what I signed up for. Like, why isn't he here?
Lots of people with Swayze's haircut, though, presumably. So.
Not as many as you'd think, actually. Maybe more, further north up in Queensland. But like, you do a lot of people with mullets, and we'll make of that what you will, of that as a hairstyle. But But yeah, well, I'll look for the similarities. You know, it's this and BMX Bandits, the two reasons to live in Australia.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, dear.
It's funny. I'm just reading now that say the 15 it got a 15 in the UK because 25
Okay.
seconds were cut
Oh, okay.
to remove bullet
Hmm.
impacts.
I love that. How does that make any sense? Like from 15 to 18, someone gets shot, but at a 15, someone's fired a gun and someone else is dead, versus at 18, someone's fired a gun and you've seen the bullet go into them and they're dead.
Yeah, and they said they also removed some of the language, and they also cut some of the naked woman being fired at you in the house raid. Spoilers.
Okay.
And then actually they restored it to then put it forward for the VHS, and then got an 18 certificate, and then they resubmitted it in 2011 and received a 15 certificate. So quite literally,
PG. Yeah.
people don't care anymore. People are like, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
you can have
It's
the
fun,
bad
isn't it, how it
language.
changes.
Yeah, that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, let's put it on. I've got my popcorn, got my snacks. This is gonna be good. I've got strong vibes for this. So yeah, we'll see you. Yeah, we'll see you after the jump. Unprecedented, and that's not a pun on the ex-president. But just as we were starting Point Break, literally someone came via the window of the shop, saw the film, and then came in and started acting out the entire film in front of the film. Trish, wow, we've never had someone walk past the store and be so involved in a movie before.
It seemed extreme to pick up the chair and just smash it through the window when there was a door there.
You ran in, diving after someone. Welcome. Tell us what brought you in.
Oh, thank you. Well, look, I just haven't seen it for years. I haven't been able to find it on any streaming platforms. So as I was going past the window, couldn't believe my eyes, and so came in. I have huge childhood fond memories of this film. So like it was I don't know, I couldn't stop from picking up the chair and throwing it through the window. So thanks for having me and being so understanding about the broken glass.
Amazing. Support your local video shop there, you see. Who wants on streaming? No, welcome. Wow. Wow, that's and obviously, you know, they did do a tour of Point Break live for many years after this. Do you guys know about this?
No.
So they used to I think it's still going, but Point Break live, basically they would reenact the entire film in front of the film. But for Johnny Utah, they would pick someone from the audience and then give them cue cards for their lines to try and reenact the type of acting that Keanu has in this. So the entire point was that you shouldn't actually know the lines, and you just had to read them to try and recreate it. And apparently it's very popular. So there we go. So did it live up to childhood memories for you guys?
What was your one-word reaction, Trish?
Epic. I was tossing it up between epic and legendary. So they both kind of mean the same thing. So yes, I believe it did live up, and actually possibly better.
Wow.
And you, Kev?
Well, weirdly, my word was also epic. So yeah, I wonder if someone was copying over my shoulder. So
I'm an original thinker.
It wasn't it? Like, well, I think we said in the first part, Andy, that, you know, it always seemed to be on. So you'd always see like one scene like hundreds of times, but you've only ever seen the full film like once or twice. And so it'd been ages since I'd seen like all of it and just really sat down and just watched it. And it was actually really good, just properly not second screening it, just watching it. And I was like, actually, this is like a pretty solid film. Like, it's I mean, they get captured pretty much halfway in the film. It's like they work out who they are. I'm like, there's still so much of the film left. What's going to happen? So, yeah, it didn't hold back. It didn't pull its punches, did it? It was like properly went into it.
Yeah, I mean, they just stitch action sequence on action sequence. The plot and, dare I say, the script is questionable at best, but it's just so much fun all the way through. Yeah. I mean, just any time that's because it's obviously it's all about the FBI, and then actually it's all about surfing. And then they and then they got caught, and then it's all about skydiving just out of nowhere, which we will get back to. And then it's like the chasing and stuff as well. It's like 5 films packed into one film. And because they don't have to bother about, making the story believable or the script good, they're just having fun the entire way through.
It just moves along. And I must admit, like, I always thought Reeves in this sort of like Keanu in this sort of era was a bit, it reminds me of like Bill and Ted. I think of like Parenthood, where he just plays a bit of a dumb sort of surfer and
young,
not necessarily
as well. And no.
yeah there's some other quote about that. I actually was surprised. I actually thought it was much better in this than I remembered. I thought him and Boosie were brilliant. Boosie's brilliant. He was so good.
Funny,
I mean, we knew that Swayze's always good, but Boosie was actually like really good in this, I thought. Yeah, I thought all of them, the 3 of them, was so good in this. I think they hold the film together. And you don't even see Swayze for like, I think it's like nearly 30 minutes. Like it's he doesn't
you were like you're like, it's 20 minutes and he's not there. You couldn't get away with this these days.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't, could you? You'd be like, you have to like show like with attention spans as they are, if like the main person's not in, people just walk out of the cinema. They're like, what is this film? So,
but they also he's really not in it all that much as well.
No,
I don't.
No.
The entire like romance and friendship between them, basically, they surf one wave, they play one game of football, and they have one fight together, and then apparently Keanu is willing to die for his relationship with Patrick Swayze. But like they don't actually show that they're particularly close. You're just like, I presume they're going out for coffee a lot and we don't see that, or like
there was only room for one montage, and that was him learning to surf. You could have done 2 montages.
I was there the whole way through going, is this like lesson 1 or is this lesson 5, or if they like spliced all the lessons in together? Because like it was a long montage, and then he's standing up after an hour, and I'm like, man, people spend decades learning how to surf, and this guy
can't even stand up.
And the surfers are so mean. Like everyone's laughing at him and doing it. I was like, aren't surfers supposed to be like really accepting and
relaxed
nice
and chilled?
And like everyone's like,
he gets
he's learning
in the sea.
He's learning to surf as he's standing on the beach. You're just like, I'm fairly sure people wouldn't just be like laughing at him. So.
It was the 80s and 90s. People, you just got abused all the time. Yeah, he had knives. Yeah, get out of here. Cut his board off. Yeah,
well, isn't that guy's name's War Child? I'm not sure that I'm not sure that he's someone that you hang out with. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, was there anything that you didn't like then? I must say, there wasn't really a lot. I actually did really enjoy this. Like, it wasn't much, and I do think the actors are all really good in it. Was there much that you didn't like, Andy?
I mean, not dislike, but it doesn't make any sense, does it? And the dialogue is either being shouted at, or it's just there's loads of stuff that just doesn't make sense. Like, what's a blue plate special? I have no idea. I have no idea what that is. But we'll get on to the quotes, and then why? I mean, I actually think Laurie Petty's also just really, really good. I think she as like actually like brings it down a notch or two, which I think is needed. But I'm not sure that she should get back with Keanu. I'm not sure that Keanu's proved himself good boyfriend material. I don't know.
No, and his sheer joy at discovering that her parents are dead. And he's like, I've
Yeah,
got a
that's
gig.
really dark.
And it was like,
Yeah. It's so
this is the
dark,
best
isn't it?
news ever. Then he fully
Yeah.
exploited it. And you could
Yeah.
see it
Yeah.
like mind going. It was like, okay, I'll teach you how to surf. Your parents are dead, just like mine. It was, it's a big call.
Didn't hold back at all, did he? Ease it in. He just went, oh, yeah, hold on. Before I go, I know you want to get rid of me. But, oh, yeah, my parents are dead. And you're like, what? Why did he just drop that in? Out of nowhere.
And she starts chewing her lip and she's like, oh,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
Well, if you're an
Yeah.
orphan too, I guess I'll take it on. But I mean,
Yeah.
then she does nearly shoot him in the head. So, you know, as far as
Well,
maybe they're actually
yeah.
well suited, because firing a gun into someone's pillow, there's a lot of things that can go wrong with that, I thought.
Yeah.
So.
But I love
just
how
these
she shot
these
him.
surfers, you know, they just mean.
She shoots him and then she immediately goes to, I bet you lied about your parents too. That wouldn't be the first thing I thought about when I
Yeah.
found out he was an FBI agent and then shot him. But it was a
Yeah.
nice link to pull it all together.
Yeah.
Well,
And
there were
you
more
probably lied about
chasings
your
to be. Yeah, they had to get onto chasings. There's more stuff to be doing. There was more skydiving. You know, had to move the plot along.
She just ran out, and then I mean, him on the phone. It's just why
Yeah.
can't I ever say what I mean? You're like, oh dear.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. And he's not even on the phone. He's got the phone down by that
No,
stage, but he hasn't. But he hasn't
He's
hung
like
up.
narrating it. Yeah.
Speaking to myself, the
Yeah.
room, the camera.
He's like, Johnny hangs up the phone. No, that's a direction, Keanu. That's not in the script.
Yeah.
And then,
Dicky Bonjour.
I mean, the entire thing about how they know that the ex-president's a surfer, it's pretty thin, the evidence there. And then they're
Yeah.
like, they leave. They're only here for the summer. Have you been to LA? You're like, it's summer
Yeah.
literally all year long. And I'm fairly sure that the waves aren't actually the best in summer. I think actually the waves are best in other times. But like, it's literally summer there the entire time. Why would you just stay for summer and then go? It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
He had to come to Australia. You know, there were things to be done. You know,
Why is the FBI going to Australia? Why is so? Let's get this straight. They arrest him after the bank robbery. I'm not sure why they arrest him after the bank robbery. Anyway,
yeah. Keanu.
then his partner punches his boss, and then they go and illegally apprehend the people, and then his partner dies, and then he's allowed back into the FBI.
Yes.
And then he's allowed back in the FBI, and then the FBI, which is a purely American thing, chases these people all around the world, and then in Australia the FBI is fine, and then he lets him go, and then he resigns. Can you imagine? Just when the next job interview that Keanu has to go to. So why did you leave your last job? Well, there's a bit of a story. I was chasing a criminal and I let him go, and then I resigned. You'd be like, oh. Yeah, we're seeing other people with more experience, I'm afraid.
You'd be like, I've just brought these people with me. They can reenact it for you, and you'll see what happens. Yeah.
It's going to be tough
crazy,
to get
isn't it?
another job.
Yeah, the taxpayers' dollars that would have been spent on going all around, like lists all the places he's been. Right?
Yeah,
it's like, I missed you in Hawaii. I found you here, and it's like, I read somewhere about it that like Bodhi was there to like bring Utah epiphany. Like, so that was like the epiphany moment where he throws it in the sea. He's like, oh, I've discovered there's more to life or something. So that, like the culmination of their love story was, you know,
because he lets him go.
A terrible job. Yeah.
Still,
after they have a fight and he handcuffs him, and you're like, I mean, was that just foreplay? I mean, what's going on? Why does he go through all that to then just let him go? And then let him die and then quit. You're just like, what? Did you just want a free travel trip to Australia? Like, what's happening?
He wants to go and surf with him on the same board. The biggest wave ever surfed that when they filmed
Really?
that at the
Really?
time. Yeah. bit of trivia for you. So that's and
We
that's
were
good.
wondering about that, like how that would work, because I know we said at the start, Andy, about the filming at that time. Like you said, probably now you just use drones and it'd be easier to capture, but it would be a little more challenging in that time, and it was done very well. And you're thinking, like, would you have to like wait for the waves as well? Like, I guess nowadays they'd probably create a wave machine and you would just have them there ready, but I guess they actually did just sit there and wait, you know, in the sea and
out on the
punching
beach.
each other, you know, getting their knives out, you know, all the stuff that surfers do.
Just all the things that surfers do.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's a much better surfer than he is FBI agent, and he's not a very good surfer. So when he's just shouting out his name, and the fact that he's famous, so what an awful thing to be as an undercover person is that you're famous and people will recognize you at a football game on the beach at night. That's an awful thing. I'd be like David Beckham trying to go undercover. You're like, are you David Beckham? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Kev was like, oh, that's why he used his real name. Like, it was like, it all makes sense now.
Because I was like, why would it? You would definitely use a fake name if you were going undercover. Whereas as soon as he sees them, he tells them his name straight away. And I'm like, why are you doing that?
He shouts his name out when he's when the first time, which I love Taylor's comment back, which is, who cares? I'm Johnny Utah. Who cares? Which I think is good. And then they're just walking around the beach with a surfboard in their seats. And then Boosie's in the car with binoculars, which were just creepy as anything. They're just the worst undercover agents of all time.
Well, straight with Utah, after the first time he meets her, he's then like watching her doing the whole sort of like Australian get ready, get changed with the towel, and then ripping off the. And then he's just in his car with his binoculars, thinking about like how to get it in.
Yeah, you'd get arrested for that now, I think. I mean, that's like literally like the camera even being on that, you'd be like, okay, this is interesting, and then you actually just see him staring at her, and you're like, oh, okay, this is even creepier.
Stop.
This is creepy.
And then literally after he's been like chasing after them, and then they come to get him for the skydiving, and he hides the badge. You're like, dude, you literally ran up to the car and said, I'm an FBI freeze, and like shot the car and then chased him for like 40 minutes. They know that you're in the FBI, and yet he still gets on the plane with them. Just like, that
you would
just
never do that.
That is
also
the very definition of toxic masculinity. That he's like, oh, dare you? Oh, okay, no, I'll go on then.
I've only got one leg, but this seems fine. And then the fact that like he has like no protection, they clearly know who he is. His undercover's been like burst. He's used his real name so that easily be able to find him. No one protect him at all. He's just sitting there with like one leg, going, "This should be fine. No one will find me." Oh, they're here.
He just knocks their door, doesn't he? He goes, oh, here we are. And Bodhi's like, I know how I can get him. Skydiving. Like, let's go.
Classic, classic Swayze.
Even as the door as someone knocks on the door, he's like, Taylor. You're like, oh, so literally no one visits you. If you think it's your ex-girlfriend who just nearly shot you in the head, just because someone's knocking on the door. Clearly, you don't have a lot of visitors. So
no, he definitely was struggling. Was there anything new that you noticed this time? I felt like. Definitely, I noticed that Boosie was way better than I remember him being. I don't know if I just, because it was always used to do these roles in so many films, and maybe you kind of could lose him a bit because you'd watch all these films and it almost felt like he played the same character. But I thought he like helps bring them together in this sort of classic sort of buddy cop, movie where they're all shouting at the boss, like you said, they punch the boss out, all this stuff that would never happen and never be allowed. But was there anything else that you noticed watching it, Trish?
Beer on Cheerios. Beer as an inflammatory, really weak beer being spat on a fire to keep it alive.
What was the fire thing all about? What was that guy? What was that guy doing? I'm fairly sure that's not how you start a fire as well. But
and he
get your knife out.
Get your knife out. Don't use the screw. Just pierce the can. and then keep your foot in the fire the entire time. So those things I found new. The rain at the start when he was shooting, and I thought that was quite poignant. A bit later when he misses, because like, well, Utah doesn't miss because he shoots in the rain. So that made sense this time.
Yeah. He kills, like, in that training session, he kills about 500 criminals. I'm like, how long does this FBI training go on for?
But only like 3 different ones. I don't know if you noticed, but it's literally it's the same board each time. It's someone with a kid, and it's a lady for some reason, just to maybe show that he would actually shoot women as well, even though he gets beaten up whenever he tries to take out a woman in this film. So there's actually only like 3 boards, but they just repeat it, which does kind of happen quite a bit as well. When he first sees Bodhi and he's like staring at him, and Laurie Petty's kind of explaining who he is. Patrick Swayze, there's about 5 different waves that he's surfing. And obviously, it takes a long time to surf a wave and then paddle back out. So he must have been staring at him for like 40 minutes. And maybe that was like a mini montage as well. They're just like, oh, that's Bodhi. Why are you still staring at him? And then like she went and got a coffee. She came back. He's still staring at him. Yeah, they call him the Bodhisattva. Goes and gets a hot dog. Comes back. It was so long.
It's just, it's the surfing lifestyle, you just chill. You're just looking into the ocean, enjoying it, not worried about anything.
It's just not a sport that you can watch all that much, because it takes so long in between them. So I almost have the opposite. Not something I knew. It's not something new that I noticed this watch, but something that I would have laid money on at the end. I have a very clear memory of Keanu saying like Tyler says hello or something. I was sure that there was a throwback to the fact that he's still with her at the end. So much so that I was like, because I actually saw in some of the research, it's like, oh, are they together at the end? And I was like, yeah, of course they are, because there's that line. And then watched it, no line, actually rewound it, watched it again. I was like, why do I remember that there was Maybe there was, on the ITV cut back in the 90s, maybe they cut some dialogue in or something, just so that they could keep us romantic fans going. But I could have sworn there was a line.
Yeah, I think it's very obvious that he doesn't mention her, because you're right. You would have thought he would definitely, like, instead of throwing down like the president mask at the end when he sees it, you thought maybe he'd throw down like a picture of her or something. But obviously, the real relationship was Keanu and Swayze. Once he realized that, he's like, I'm coming to see you.
Got out. To be honest with you, I just really don't think that they should have been together. So
there's a few red flags. Like if someone's gonna lie that epically to you on the first meeting.
Madness, isn't it? Was there anything that you thought?
Even when she calls him on it, and then he tells her where they live, like he could have just said no, they are still alive. But he's like, no, they're doing. Thanks for asking. They're doing really well. They went on a cruise last year. You're like, she doesn't care. She's not asking after your parents. She's asking if your parents are still alive because you lied to her. And he's like, yeah, no, they do well. They live in Oklahoma now. Just got a new dog. Got 3 grandchildren.
Does
that make you feel worse 3 days ago? As you're pointing a gun at me?
They're the complete opposite of dead. Really, really well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Really vibrant people, and I love having them. I'm there every time, every Christmas. Oh, you're not.
Was there anything that you thought that dated it? I mean, I feel it is just it's a capture of when it's made, right? It is a film of its time. And it has
the cars were the most jarring thing. Like all of the cars. I was actually watching it with my wife, and she was just like, the cars are all so rectangular. It's like, they really, really are, aren't they?
Yeah.
So everything straight lines. So
now it's all about curves. The world has changed.
I found the absence of mobile phones that could have saved like Utah on so many occasions, you know, like when he woke up really late and turned up to his stakeout really late. But also when he gets kidnapped on the plane, it's like he's trying to reach for his gun. But if he just had a mobile phone, he could have just called someone or sent them a text. And it's like, oh, this has dated the film, you know, that kind of, well, you've done now.
But the fact that the only way they have to talk to each other is the walkie-talkies, and he's again, he's supposed to be undercover, and he's got this massive walkie-talkie that he's like talking into under the towel, which is just like the size of his head, and you're like, I'm fairly sure that people would notice that. It's not a little flip phone you've got there.
He does no effort to hide that at all, does it? Like, you can clearly see that he's talking on a walkie-talkie. They are definitely the worst undercover cops. Like, definitely by a mile. He's always walking to the police station with a surfboard. You're like, why is he doing that? Leave that at home.
Otherwise the car doesn't lock. Come on, Kev, keep up with the
but
dialogue.
why is he taking it to where? He's either undercover or he's in the office. Like, what? He's trying to do both jobs at the same time.
Well, we had this debate this morning about whether he was actually undercover or whether he's just having a go, because there's that guy in the house where they do the raid, and he's like, I'm undercover. You guys are joking. I'm catching drug dealers.
I think that's entirely fair. That is being undercover. I don't think what Keanu is doing is being undercover at all.
No, I think that's it's quite hard to learn to surf. You know, he's just sitting there smoking some weed. Like, I think the other guy's got it easy.
Keanu drags his knee a lot when he's surfing. I would just say I'm no pro.
Oh,
but I'm just saying the action isn't the best. So.
He's known for like a strange run as well, right? I remember, like, when he was running, I was like, he runs weird, and I was suddenly remembering, I'm sure that's a thing, that he's known for running weird in his films. I don't know.
It's very. I mean, Matrix ripped off that one. I think I think if we watch Matrix now straight away, we'd be like, wow, they really just copied the run. Apart from no one throws a dog at him in the Matrix.
So that's so good as well. Like, he could have just kept going. He's like, no, I'll wait here because I've got a dog now. So
exactly. I just imagine him being like, like pointing the dog at him or something. Like, okay, you've let yourself down there a bit, Bodhi. I would say it is also a very 1991 Western vision of what Buddhism is, as well as Bodhi's concerned. There's not a lot of Buddhist teachings, and I remember sort of being like, wow, that guy's so Buddhist at the time, and you're just like, no, he's not. There's just nothing there. So that was what we thought in the 90s, when you couldn't research anything, and so all you had was Hollywood movies to teach you the world.
I know. that was how we learned, and we've done such a great job for everyone now. Was there any questions that you think the film asked or answered, Trish?
I mean, the love story. This was something probably I didn't notice the first time. So, like the love story. Would they have done anything for each other? But also, we talked about this. Was it worth it? What, for Bodhi's like fighting against the system, he ended up killing all his mates and then having to travel around the world with no one else. So, like, I don't know. It's like, that thrill of the chase, that kind of taking it too far. Was it worth it for all the fallout in the end?
When they're talking about it, he says, this was never about the money, and I kind of get the feeling that the others are like, we were just doing
they're all looking at each other like,
this is about us taking on the system, and everyone's like, fairly sure it was just for beer money, to be honest with you.
That's why we don't go into the vault. That's why we just get some money.
This is why I get my butt out at the end of a robbery. It's because I don't care. I'm just doing it for some money. So.
And it's weird. I was thinking for the same sort of view as well. Like, when you think about, like, was it worth it for him? Also for Keanu, like, you think about how much effort they put in to this white collar crime, and like Boosie's like, oh my God, they've done so many bank robs, and like they're only robbing like a small amount out of the till and then leaving, and I'm like, there's so much effort from the FBI to try and catch these people, and God knows what else is going on in LA at the same time. And I'm like, no, guys, we've got to make sure we get these 4 bank robbers that are just stealing like $50. And then obviously he has the opportunity to kill Bodhi, and he decides not to. Then she gets kidnapped, and then loads of people die as well. So he could have actually, and Bodhi still dies. So you're like,
worst
was it
FBI
worth it?
agent of all time.
Yeah. Little do we know, even though he throws that badge in at the end, it was actually a fake one. He'd already been sacked, and he's just on his own money. He's pretending to everyone he's an FBI agent.
He's been promoted or something, and just that's how it works. Why doesn't Boosie go and get his own sandwich? That was the question.
Oh yeah.
Get your own 2 sandwiches. Sorry, 2 sandwiches.
Yeah,
Exactly. Go and get them yourself. And he's like laughing
respect
at
your elders.
Calvin and Hobbes. Again, it's just so stupid.
Yeah, but that's what's so good about it. It is like a proper sort of. It has the full like buddy cop movie element to it with Reeves and Boosie, but then also has this other element with like Reeves and Swayze as well. So it's quite funny. And I think, as you said, Swayze's not in it that much. There's so much more of Boosie and Reeves than there are of Swayze. But yeah, it is, and I love how it all fits together. And obviously, Patrick Swayze is amazing in it. I love it. But because that's what I was thinking.
The only other question I had was, is that really what lawnmowers used to be like? Because seems
so loud.
That seems a really dangerous design. Surely lots of people got maimed mowing their lawn.
I think
Definitely
they did.
Yeah. Definitely dead. Yeah, it'll be like, well, what did you guys get here? We've got 2 kilos of drugs. What happened next door? Oh, the guy got completely killed by his lawnmower. Oh, okay.
It's literally just spinning blades, and that's it. No protection. That was the 90s.
Yeah.
That was very good. I had completely forgotten about the lawnmower. And Kevin, I was going, I can't watch. And he's like, you know that nothing happens. And I'm like, I know, but it's...
I can't remember. Was Keanu completely maimed in the face for the second half of the movie or not? I can't remember what happens there.
Yeah. What did you do for deep fake? So I couldn't think of anyone. I mean, often, so Trish, often we'll say, could Keanu make this film better if we deep faked him in? I don't think you can deep fake. For me, I couldn't think of anyone better than Swayze and Keanu. What did you guys say?
I'm going pure Matrix. I want Keanu in every role in this film.
In every role.
Just in every role, including Laurie Petty, so that they're making out together on the surfboards. I just want is just Keanu literally is every character in this film. That's what I'm going to do. When I get the technology, that's the first thing I'm going to do.
Now that you've said that, I can almost see like Nick Cage doing that, because I feel like Nick Cage would be better than that.
Oh, Nick Cage is Bodhi. Surely that would be
that could be good.
Yeah.
So do you think that you could do Face Off for Point Break? So you would have John Travolta and Nick Cage.
I had Face Off as my kind of similar kind of comparison to this. I get lots of Face Off vibes on this.
Yeah.
Did you have anyone that you would deep fake?
Well, I obviously did my research, and apparently Val Kilmer was supposed to play Keanu Reeves, and I thought that was quite...
He's a poor man's Guy Pearce. Yeah, that's reference to a previous podcast.
I quite like Guy Pearce too, but I
possibly
always
Oscar winner by the time this goes out. I'm Oscar winner Guy Pearce, maybe. Maybe.
Oh, really? Wow, we are definitely ahead of it. So he definitely is a poor man's Guy Pearce.
But I always confuse Val Kilmer. I think would be good, and I always confuse Patrick Swayze with Kevin Costner, and I forget which one's dead and which one's not. So
we're gonna. That's a season 3 podcast series just there.
Oh my Lord!
You explain how you get those 2 people.
I do it all the time, and I get. And I swear I've asked Kev so many times, and I'm like, is Kevin Costner dead? And he's like, no. And I'm like, oh yeah, I mean Patrick Swayze. So
Like,
I reckon
like
Kevin
so
Costner
different.
could be good.
I just imagine like just in the middle of the day. Sorry, Kev, is Kevin Costner dead? No. Okay, good.
Like, no,
On we go.
stop hating on all the Kevins. He's still alive. Leave him alone. He's in that
Swayze.
epically long cowboy thing, Yellowstone.
Yes. Well, whenever it pops up, I'm like, how is he still going? And then I'm like,
Yeah,
oh no, that's
'cause
it,
he's a
Kevin
legend.
Costner.
Yeah.
Swayze and Dances with Wolves. I think that would be good. That would be a good one.
Oh,
I could see that.
I mean, Swayze in most films is going to be good. Oh. But yeah, all right. What about which character you most like or most to be like then? So go on then, Trish. Who did you have?
Laurie Petty, of course.
Yeah.
I
Well, you could have been
used to
Boosie.
Oh. No,
It could be anyone.
no. I used to
I'm sure
have
there's no
really
loaded
short.
guns.
Yeah, I used to have really short cropped hair like her, and I really wanted to be her. And I thought she was really pretty and really cool and sassy. And she
Yeah, okay.
also plays football with the boys as well and scores touchdowns. And yeah, so her.
Wow.
Although I probably wouldn't have taken him back after
No, after he lied about
after the
being an
lies.
FBI agent.
After,
Yeah.
after I got
No.
kidnapped in my nightie, after I had to run
Yeah.
through the desert, I definitely wouldn't
Yeah.
have been like, oh, let me just like yeah. So
Yeah.
like I really loved her probably up until that bit. So yeah.
Yeah,
her.
okay.
She's
What about
strong.
you, Andy?
I mean, I identified with Keanu literally in the football game. That's the type of thing that
Yeah.
unfortunately I would do. Just take it too seriously.
Just take out
bit
everyone.
we have to win this game. If we're going to play, then we have to actually win. And there's been many times when I've got annoyed when I'm like, it's just a kick around. No, if we're going to play, then we have to try and win. So not the rest of the film.
Competitive dad. Here we go. Poor
No, the
old
rest of the
Bobby.
time, obviously,
Yeah.
I'm a much better surfer, and
Yeah.
I'm fairly sure.
Oh, dear.
There's one bit in the skydiving where my wife said, "Is that supposed to be Keanu Reeves?" And I was like, "Yeah, no, I get what you mean. Like,
Yeah.
it's like a
It
real
is.
like zoom in on Swayze, and
Yeah.
then it's like 200 meters away being filmed Keanu Reeves because it's clearly
Yeah.
not him." So.
I know
Yeah.
it is so obvious, is that that you could clearly see it's Swayze, but everyone else is not any of them at all.
Mm.
Did
That's
you? I
funny.
presume you went Swayze.
Yeah, for sure.
Feel like you've
Yeah.
got a
So that's
tattoo,
perfect.
maybe
So guys,
saying Bodhi.
We can reenact this. That worked out perfectly. We just need someone to play Boosie, and we're done. We're good to go.
I'm sure
Kev, why did
Carla
you want-
gives off Boosie vibes.
Kev, why did you want to be Swayze? Was it his what
Because he's
did you
amazing,
describe him? His elegant, like dancing kind
graceful.
of poise.
Yeah,
Yeah, you were really kind of
yeah.
admiring his
He is. Yeah, it's something that
Body.
actually.
You
and it
can
was-
say it.
His body. Yeah.
That's what everyone's
No.
thinking. So
His
was
grace.
more-
Yeah.
It was more his grace, and you were like, you
His
could tell he's
movements.
a dancer. It's just like so fluid.
Well, I don't think I said you could tell he's a dancer, but
when way back, right? Okay.
it's similar to Bruce Lee. Like
Kevin
it's funny,
Costner.
like yeah, it's like very similar to Kevin Costner. It's like when you see Bruce Lee fight, and
Yeah.
it's the same with Swayze. It just flows. It's so natural, and it's actually then when you see, like, not that Keanu's doing it badly. It just seems very different.
But he is also
and
doing it badly.
Yeah, but you can just see, and I think that's what you were saying, Trish, that actually he went through dance school and stuff, so he probably has that sort of grace about him. So when he's fighting, he does more kicks and stuff, and he holds his body in just a different way. Like it's just more like he's in tune to it, and he's very similar, I thought, to Bruce Lee. That was what it was reminding me of.
He's 12 years older than Keanu in this. He's 39.
Really?
Keanu's 27.
Okay.
So
Wow.
he's doing well, I would say, for 39.
Yeah, and he does the
He's
skydiving, and Keanu says no.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, apparently.
And
I
then
mean, I
Swayze
think
broke 4 ribs as well doing filming this.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
what a legend.
Yeah, just the surfing. I think he's a big skydiver. I think he was a big skydiver. So it was actually the surfing that he got injured doing so much.
Yeah, crazy. So we got to get onto the lines. There's so many good lines. You got to get through them. Like the opening scene, there are a million good lines. I had to stop writing them down because they just kept coming.
Just the entire first day pep talk. The amount of times I've gone into an office and that's been the pep talk by my boss.
And he's like, I want you eating vegetables. I want you doing this. He's like, sir, I even take the skin off chicken.
I thought Keanu was really good in that opening scene because his timing was pretty good. You know, where he's like, "You seen any assholes?" And he's like, "Yeah," and then he shoots down on his donut. But I loved in that I hadn't noticed before was, do you know how we get bad guys, Utah? By crunching data. And it reminded me, if Kev was ever going to be a crime fighter, that's how he would fight crime, by crunching data.
Data man. Worst superhero ever.
If you ever found out about my superhero persona, you would know that one. Yeah, he crunches.
But there's only a 27.8% chance that you would find out. So.
Yeah. I don't just leave my FBI badge while I'm under the cover, just hanging out. Just I've left that on the side. I knew there was something I needed to put away, and I left it with the gun. Oh my god! Yeah, they don't explain how she finds it, considering he's been hiding it all this time. Then all of a sudden, it's like she just walks into the room and goes, "Oh, what's this?" And it's just there.
He's got a gun. There's an FBI. Although, and then when she confronts him, the best line, "Don't you have a soul?" is just such a crushing line. You're just like, I mean. Although it's a good question because he has just lied about his parents being dead. So I loved when
one for the podcast description.
I mean, I just read. I obviously podcast description was they only live to get radical. That basically describes us, right?
I had some great ones. 100% pure adrenaline. Or sometimes you got to go a little crazy.
I know when he says, it's no tragedy to die doing what you love. I was a bit like, well, I love doing the pod. Fairly sure if I died doing the pod, that would be quite tragic. If you're a teacher and you love doing what you do, fairly sure it's tragic if you die doing that. So, I definitely don't agree with that. I mean, I'm so hungry I could eat the ass end of a dead rhino. What does that mean?
You're really hungry.
No idea what that means. When they're talking about surfing, this is for little rubber people who don't wash. Little rubber people? What are you talking about? I do love when he goes into the shop and they say, "Oh, lots of people your age are trying to learn to surf," and he's like, "I'm 25."
And there's like a kid that's basically, and he's like, "Yeah, because I'm like 12."
Exactly. Yeah. And then they say you've got the kamikaze look. Bodhi can smell it. There's a mix of metaphors there. So and even the Australian, obviously great Australian accents at the end.
Oh my god!
When he says, bad. "Anyone gone out?" "Oh no, it's death on a stick out there, mate."
I did like that.
Is that a saying that you guys have? Maybe.
No, it doesn't really come up that often, but I might start using it now. What people say.
I mean, so many 3-star reviews. Just so many.
Go on.
A lot of them a little bit bizarre. Someone started theirs with Keanu Reeves in brackets, The Matrix, stars as Johnny Utah. If there's an actor that you just never have to say where they're from, surely it's Keanu Reeves. You just never have
some
to
of the
say,
biggest franchises. But then, as we know, with Kevin Costner and Patrick Swayze, maybe you do need to clarify for some people.
It helps.
So, someone agreed with you on Boosie. Pretty good film, bit of a classic. It's got Gary Busey in it to keep you amused when you get bored of the surfing.
Yeah,
3 stars.
He was good.
That's good. A few people don't agree with the ending. If it weren't for the end of this movie, it may have been one of the best action films of all time.
Wow.
Not a fan of the ending.
Tango and Cash, they mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The casting is a little misjudged, and certainly there are times when a few stars look out of their
No.
depth and nothing like the
No.
way they have developed today.
No.
That's a bold take. It's a bold take.
No, the casting is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even the captain, the guy from Scrubs, he is perfect in that role as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and then someone said, I must shamefully admit I purchased this movie simply to gaze at Keanu's loveliness. The man is beautiful.
Oh.
But still
There you
only
go.
got 3 stars.
But
So
still only 3, yeah.
obviously
Not a Swayze fan.
Not as beautiful as maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, then.
So
What
go
did
on
you
then,
have? What did you have your double feature?
I had 2. One was Jaws, because, in the ocean, if you want to just mix it up,
Yeah, wow.
take it up another level.
Nice.
But my favorite film as a child, alongside, me and my brother would compete on the video on what to watch. So he would watch Point Break, I would watch Dirty Dancing. So I think it's pretty
Okay.
complimentary, especially if you like Patrick Swayze's elegance and
Yeah, slash
dancing
Kevin Costner.
prowess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which one will you get? So
Yeah.
I reckon Dirty Dancing is a little bit of, Swayze's more feminine side.
There is a
Nice.
theory that Dirty Dancing, Point Break, and Roadhouse are all in the same universe. Because
Oh.
there's there's a
Yes.
reference to a car, I think. Because when Bodhi's looking at the surfboard and he says, "Oh, it reminds me of an old Chevy that I used to have," and I think he's got a Chevy in Roadhouse, and then so there is a theory that this is
Amazing.
This is the same character. Obviously, after being rejected by Baby, he goes and hunts Roadhouse and then and then ends up on the beach. So
And then he's like, it's too crazy. I need to relax and chill out and become a surfer. Yeah. Well, that was for me. I had Roadhouse because, I was thinking exactly that same thing, but it was an exact link into this film. So I was like, it was perfect. So there we go.
So,
The
I
Holy
mean,
Trinity of Swayze.
with those, that's the thing. Do you think this is a Swayze movie more than it's a Keanu movie?
I think it's a Reeves movie. Definitely, it's a Keanu movie.
Yeah.
And yet you've gone for more Swayze.
Well, I think Swayze is much better in the movie than Keanu. But it is definitely a Keanu movie. It is more a buddy cop movie, really, than I remembered. There's so many more scenes with Keanu and Boosie, I think, than there are with Swayze. But Swayze's just, he's got the grace, he's got the elegance, and you need to see more of him. You don't see enough of him here, so you need to get some of him in Roadhouse. What did you go for, Andy?
I went for Night and Day. Another just bizarre.
I'll tell you what, that's going to come up again a bit later on. So yeah,
go on then.
Yeah.
Is that a part of the algo?
No, that's going to be when I score it. We'll come up to it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hang on. So Night and Day, the vampire one.
No.
The Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz.
Classic.
If you haven't seen it, then
I haven't.
We'll put it on in the shop afterwards. It's always
immediately stop this podcast.
It's another check.
Night and Day Tuesday. We always have it playing every Tuesday at the shop. So
yeah, it's the benchmark of all benchmarks now. Everything is it. You always, we go back to think, would I rather watch Night and Day or would I rather watch this film? And that's what it all comes back to.
And for you, I think there's only 4 films you'd rather watch than Night and Day. So,
it's true.
So go on then, for the algo, what did you guys have?
Yeah, I had Lethal Weapon, 48 Hours, Bad Boys. I went down like that sort of, buddy cop. So I had Hot Files, The Other Guys, Rush Hour. So all in that same sort of, no surfers. Couldn't think of any other surfing movies, but that very buddy cop sort of, with a bit of comedy, I guess, because there is a bit of comedy in this. That's where I went. What about you, Trish?
Yeah,
I had Face Off, and then you explained what I had to do a bit better, and so I changed my mind and went Blue Crush. Do you remember Blue Crush?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Matthew McConaughey? Oh yeah.
You could. We'll put it on your list for later. But I went down that. I went down that road.
Okay.
Nice.
So, yeah, still on the surfing vibe. Yeah. Okay. What about you? What did the algo have?
The algo just didn't get this film at all. They put Heat Public Enemies,
No.
Fast Five, fair enough, but also like The Town. So it took this film as completely serious.
No way could you put Ben Affleck with Patrick Swayze. I will not accept that.
Yeah, no, the algo didn't understand how cheesy this film was and why it's great.
Yeah.
So no, definitely lost for the algo this week.
Yeah, it's win for me. Well, is it win for me or win for Trish?
No, I think just a loss for the algo.
Win all round.
Yeah, you can both have a point.
Yes.
A win for Point Break and how utterly non-comparable it is. So.
All right then, Andy. So it's number 34. What's happening? Going up? Going down?
Yeah, I think it can just it can ease down to the where we've got slots. So we'll go down to 39. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but still just love this movie. It's a total it really is. It's a total vibe. It's just so funny to watch. I watched it on the Blu-ray this time, and actually I felt like it did need to be on a VHS and be slightly warped and fuzzy at the beginning. I was a bit disappointed that it wasn't, but no, it's still super fun, and just really liked it. So how about you then, Kev? Where did it end up on the list?
See, this is when it comes into the night and day effect. So I ended up putting it at number 5, so firmly in the good section. And I was debating whether it should go at 4 or not. And I had to get to the point where I know we don't. It's more about, for me, how did I feel watching these films this time round rather than rewatchability for me. But because I'd seen Night and Day and it was so good and Point Break, I had to go to rewatchability, and I just had to go, what would I rather watch? And Point Break is great, but Night and Day is great. It's just more watchable, isn't it? You can just watch it more times. It's just great. So it all comes back to that. So
you can watch them as a double feature. Obviously,
I mean that would be
when we do the whole list in order over the course of 7 days, and then we'll get to do that.
Yeah. So there you go. Top 5.
Amazing, awesome. Well, I mean, that is so many firsts on the pod, not least that we we have a walk in. So for next week, the quote is, as sure as eggs, Roxy Robinson had been scrambled. Obviously, absolute classic line. Everyone will know that. Thanks to Tom Miller for the theme song, and for the rest of the day we'll be cleaning up the glass from the window in the front of the store.